Hello, this is the RPG Crawler, and welcome to another episode of Indie Game Friday, where each week I take a look at a different independent role-playing game. This week I'm taking a look at a retro-inspired RPG that uses 8-bit stylings. Yes, another one of those. Nadia was developed by Jajaben Games and published by Indietopia, and was released on Steam on May 26th, 2017. As mentioned before, Nadia is an 8-bit inspired retro RPG that claims as inspiration such classics as Final Fantasy and Golden Sun. And although we've had so many of those sorts of retro aesthetic games released, it's worthwhile taking a look at the good ones still. So is Nadia one of the good ones? Well, in terms of story, it starts out with a girl named Nadia, lost in some undeclared village, who then wanders off with bandits to find her parents, while the villagers are off discussing what to do. Fast forward some undeclared amount of time to the last year, and we pick up with Hogan, an old warrior who journeys forth in search of his stolen shield. He soon meets up with a grown Nadia and with a mage, and they journey onward into an increasingly complex story, during which it becomes clear that something is wrong with the world. I won't go into more detail than that, because this is a very story-oriented game, but I will talk about its interface, exploration, and combat systems, all of which are worth taking a look at. First, the control scheme can be mouse-based or keyboard-based, however you wish. During basic exploration, you move around the map directionally. To interact with something, you simply bump into it. This includes obstacles, enemies, treasure chests, or even people you may want to talk to. Different areas of the various maps may be blocked off until you uncover a particular skill, so there's some incentive to go back and explore prior areas. It should be noted that on the maps where the most exploration takes place, things don't move until you do, including enemies, and many maps are puzzle-based in this way. If you find yourself hemmed in or unable to complete a map, you can reset the map you're on entirely, although I believe you can keep certain key objects while doing so. Overworld exploration is somewhat more straightforward, with simply being a series of destinations that you click on in turn. However, the combat system more than makes up for this simplicity. Combat is timer and lane-based. Every character and enemy gets one skill. The characters that you can have switch their abilities based on what item they're using at the time. Whether party members or enemies, the skills in question slowly charge up, and whenever any one of them is completely full, it automatically goes off, targeting the enemy in the same lane as it. There's 3 lanes, and you can actually drag the characters from lane to lane, allowing you to strategically pick who faces what attack, if anyone does at all. It's an interesting little mechanic, and it's combined with a party strength meter that averages between how full the life bars of a particular side are. If everyone on a particular side is close to full, they will all do more damage, and if the meter is completely full, it can be used for a special summon attack. If you're having difficulty with a group of enemies, it can actually be helpful to leave one seriously wounded one alive, just to bring the overall damage you're taking down. There are certain items that you can pick up. Potions, cures for various status ailments, etc., and these can be used at any time by simply dragging their icon from the lower section of the screen onto an affected character. Likewise, a character's skill can be changed by selecting the character in question and then picking a different skill or item. While most of this is done in real time, clicking on a party member will pause the combat and give you time to think. All in all, it's a neat little system that I really haven't seen similar execution of, at least not that I can remember. The story seems pretty linear, although there are plenty of NPCs to speak with in the various areas you uncover, and said areas may take a while to explore. There are some occasional secret doors, and searching every inch of a particular map may take a while, even if it's just an inn. Add to this the fact that you should probably return to some places once you've unlocked certain skills, and it may actually take quite a bit of time to thoroughly explore the world. As for graphics, sound, and writing, the sound is straight out of the 8-bit NES era, including the music, which can be a bad thing if your ears are unused to such things. The music is not half bad, but is closer to the original feel of this sort of music than a lot of modern chiptunes are, as are the sound effects. For me, that was great, but I can understand how it can be grating to somebody who isn't really fond of that aesthetic. Similarly, The graphics are done in a classic 8 to 16-bit era style, heavily pixelated, although animation frames are actually quite responsive and seem slightly more colorful despite a slight desaturation effect that you'd expect from this era of time. As for the writing, it's well written in places, it gets the ideas and storyline out with no obvious awkwardness. So, is Nadia Was Here worthwhile? I'd have to say that it does capture the old school 8-bit aesthetic almost perfectly, while retaining a modern design, although I don't think it'll win any converts among people who aren't already enamored of this sort of presentation. And that's a bit of a shame, because the story is really engaging, as is the puzzle-based exploration mechanic and the lane-based combat system. At the price, currently $11.99 US, at least as of this recording, it's worth the cost in time and entertainment value alone, at least in my humble opinion. And on that note, I'll leave it here. This has been the RPG Crawler with Indie Game Friday. Nadia Was Here. If you like what you've seen, remember to leave a like, comment if you got feedback, and subscribe for more RPG content. If you'd like to help the channel out, please check out my Patreon at patreon.com/rpgcrawler. Until next time, take care and goodbye.